Chief Yu here. Thank you for waiting patiently for my answers of those 85 questions which I've uploaded a month ago. For the benefits of those who are not Filipinos, I'm gonna do this in English. Where can you find in the manual your duties and responsibilities? Since they are talking about manual, you always say SMS. Safety Management System. Number two, risk assessment. Whatever vessel you are in, you can always find risk assessment because this is one of the requirements of the ISM. Some cases, guys, that if you carry out risk assessment, if the onboard managers are not able to eliminate or minimize the risk, you have to ask the office. The office will tell you what to do. Minimum rest. This pertains MLC, guys. 10 hours is the minimum rest of any individual working on board. Number four, permit to work, and give example of each. Permit to work, remember, we always do that before carrying out any hazardous work process again. Examples are the hot work permit, enclosed space permit, working aloft, electrical working permit. For the engineers, don't forget, when you carry out cabin space cleaning, you always have to complete this enclosed space permit. What is enclosed space? Any compartment that is suspected to be air deficient that is in enclosed space. Remember this. If any maintenance that involved in that particular area, you should accomplish the work permit. Duties and responsibilities during bunker operation. We also have all those checklists on this, and whatever is written there, whatever duties are there, of course, a chief engineer overall in charge, but whatever position you are in, you just find it and that checklist. And anyway, everybody, before the bunkering, you have to sign the bunker meeting, and there you can find your duties and that you have to do during the bunkering. Method of early detection or signs of cappuccino effect. First thing, when the bunkering starts, you will have a snaking of your hose, and you would also observe the fluctuation of pressure. And next is, when you take sounding, you will find bubbles on your sounding bob. Why is it cappuccino effect is very dangerous? Because when you take sounding of your tanks, it always gives you higher level, and thus you will get short of supply. And how to counter all this? When you find all those symptoms, you just ask the supplier, okay, stop the operation because you are pumping me air. Otherwise, I will call the owner and I will not take your bunker. Whatever chief engineer's observation, which he might think the suppliers are playing you tricks, he can always stop the bunkering and call the owner. Remember, bunkering are always arranged by the charterers. Very important, the chief engineer, once he signed, the responsibility will become the owner's end. Remember that. Next is number four, what is the maximum percentage filling fuel oil tank? When you are asked of this question, you just answer 85% of the tank capacity. And how to calculate liters to metric tons? I just check on the screen what are the formulas that gives you that answer. What is the safe margin of the fuel allowed? Okay, this question, guys, is only for chief engineer. Every time the office asks how much the consumption this voyage would take, you will always consider the safe margin. Safe margin, guys, is just in case you are not expecting any bad weather, but in actual, you are. You must have extra fuel in order to reach safely to the next port. And mostly, the safe margin, which I always calculated, is 5 days times the maximum consumption of your vessel. How do you manage fuel with high cut fines? Of course, guys, I have uploaded one video of this. The most important thing is you have to make sure your purifier is working in an optimum level. The purifier can make a lot of things in order to reduce high cut fines, and just go through that video. I already explained everything there. The next one is, how do you manage fuel dispute? It's very simple. When you're not satisfied, again, since chief engineer is the boss, a lot of places giving you short. Very simple. You just issue a note of protest. That note of protest always protects the owner's interest. So issue a note of protest. Maximum sulfur. Okay, remember, high sulfur fuel are still existing because of those vessels which are having scrubbers. And VLCFO, which is having 0.5%, are those vessels which are not fitted with scrubbers. That means it is a compliant fuel. Preparation before PEC inspection. Okay, how do you prepare? First is, you must make sure your engine room is clean. because it gives good impression to the external parties once again. Next is the logbook. You must fill the logbook and signed by the engineers as well as chief engineers. And you must make sure all those checklists that is part of your logbook are accomplished with, and make sure all those regular testing are updated and carried out, and make sure all engine room has no oil leaks, no oil patches, no rugs lying on the floor, no signs of burn marks like in the main engine. Once again, especially in the turbocharger side, they find you burn marks, and then they can always tell you that this system and leaking, and that is fire hazard, especially the generator side. So make sure before you arrive in any port, if you don't have time to rectify that leak, make sure to carry out in the first opportunity.